Sizuan. And what does that mean? If we break it down, Shaotuer means little disciple. Yin means to resent or blame. And Sizuan is our 18th patriarch or holy teacher. So the story begins with little disciple visiting holy teacher's home in heaven, and he kneels in front of holy teacher's lotus platform crying. So he sees holy teacher, and holy teacher's wearing these beautiful satin gold robes, and he has 2 aisles of soldiers flanking his sides, protecting him. And he has many, many angels surrounding him, and he even has a garden to the side. And he has millions of people burning incense, offering food, and praying to holy teacher. And holy teacher's home is so beautiful and majestic that the beauty is almost indescribable. And so little disciple can't help but compare holy teacher's home to his own. Little disciple lives in a tiny rundown temple dedicated to him. In the spring and summer, it's always flooded, and it would scare him. In the days that it didn't flood, it would get so hot that little disciple would sweat. During hurricane season, little disciple would get drenched because his roof was leaking. And in the winter, a beggar would find shelter in little disciple's temple, and he would start a fire with wet grass to cook. And then when you have wet grass, it would smoke up the entire temple. And the smoke would irritate little disciple's eyes and make him tear, so he'd have to stand outside of his own temple. And he rarely had any visitors, and little disciple would have to wait for the new year for anyone to come burn incense for him. And holy teacher's temple has so many visitors that it would also smoke up because of all the incense everyone was burning for him, while little disciple's temple smokes up because of a beggar's cooking. So this beggar ended up dying of starvation when he ran out of food inside of little disciple's temple, and it was many, many months before anyone even discovered the body because he had no visitors. So the temple would get smelly and really dirty with the rotting beggar's body, and that little disciple couldn't even standing outside of his own house anymore. That's how bad it was. So while holy teacher has 2 rows of soldiers accompanying him, little disciple has 1 angel to accompany him, but they don't even get along. He wears these broken slippers, old robes, and a ripped rag on his head. And if we kind of compare it to holy teacher's golden satin robes, it's very different, right? So a little disciple blames holy teacher for his low position and for not warning him to do better. He said holy teacher was too easy on him and spoiled him with kind words all the time. If he had been stricter or harsher, maybe little disciple would have cultivated better. He blames he says it's holy teacher's fault for not convincing him to do better. And holy teacher hears this and kind of laughs coldly in his face, right? Because is it really his fault? So holy teacher said, I told you not to get hot-tempered, and little disciple said, that's just my character. Holy teacher said, I told you to go out and propagate, but you said it's too far and too difficult. I told you... Oh, okay, I pointed to the right place. Okay. So I told you to host your own temple. It would be like a direct bridge to heaven. And you told me that my home is too small, there's not enough money, and my life is already too difficult. I told you to donate more, but you said that's tricking people into parting with their money. I told you Earth is not forever, but you said my kids are too young and I'll cultivate when they're older. I told you to respect Dao members, and you said there's no time to mingle and get to know them. I told you to not eat meat, and you said, if I don't eat delicious meat, then my mouth cannot survive. I told you to hurry and not to be lazy, but you said, I'm too dumb, so I cannot cultivate too quickly. I told you temple's money and things are to be treated with propriety and order, but you said it's not necessary to be so strict. I told you to follow regulations, and you said if it's too strict, people will get scared away. I told you to do more bows and spread regulations to others, but you said you're always too sleepy and too tired. you to follow temple's rules, and you said, who could follow them so perfectly? Holy teacher also said to speak less, but little disciple ignored him and just kept talking. I told you to follow good leaders, and you said it's just easier to blend in with the ordinary people. I told you when you finish one task, go elsewhere and just keep doing more. But you said, temple's just so comfortable, why don't I just stay here for a few more days? There's always more time. I told you not to take temple money home, but you said it's just borrowing. Holy teacher said, little disciple, you were too careless and always disregarded temple's regulations. You were too lazy. Holy teacher always warned you, but you just said I was nagging. You always said that there was plenty of time and I'll just keep doing it. I'll just do it later. There's more time. But do we really know how much time we have left, everybody? No, right? So you blamed Holy Teacher, but who's really to blame? And now that you regret it, it's too late. When every time you encountered hardships, you hide and step backwards. And now you want to complain and be side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the Buddhas, with big lotus platforms and soldiers protecting us? But have you ever considered how many hardships and obstacles Holy Teacher had to encounter to get to his high position? Holy Teacher had to endure rain and storms. He even froze and starved to help Tao and propagate. Many people were out to get him, and he was even tortured sometimes. Some nights he didn't sleep at all because he was too busy spreading Tao. He suffered many criticisms and negativity at Temple from others, and he spent all his money and all his time for Temple. And he feels so bad because he had to leave home and leave his parents so that he didn't have the chance to be filial to them. He made many, many sacrifices and faced many hardships, but never once did he resent Tao. Not once did Holy Teacher relax and slow down in spreading Tao and helping others. So Holy Teacher gives us some words of wisdom for those who are serious about cultivating. He says, always follow and respect regulations carefully. If we are careless, that's the easiest way to get demerits. He said to be consistent and continuously sincere, day and night. He said, don't be stingy with donations to Temple. Never cheat the Buddha, because the Buddhas always know. He said, listen carefully to Dharma teachings and practice, and never interrupt others who are teaching about Tao. If we take shortcuts, then we fall short of where we could have been. Little disciple had the opportunity to cultivate and gain a high position, but he threw it away. And if we do the same, we have nobody to blame but ourselves. So how do we be a good disciple? Holy Teacher says we must be pure of heart. We must have good manners, respect the regulations of Temple. We should not have motives and let heaven plan our path. Meaning, we shouldn't aspire to become lecturers or transmitters. We should trust heaven to plan it for us, right? We shouldn't have attachment to these positions or titles. Never tire of spreading and speaking of the Tao. Treat all equally, no matter how rich or poor. Meaning there's no I, there's no you. The President of America and a homeless beggar still has to cultivate the same way, right? We should cultivate ourselves and help others to cultivate. Stay away from evils and stick to the truth. We need to self-reflect often of our behaviors in a day. So right before bedtime, we should always think about what we did that day and what we could do better. He said the Buddhas are always next to us, recording us, and they take note of our errors, and they never overlook the tiniest of merits, too. So, the Buddhas next to us are always scared and worried that we're going to mess up or fail or, make mistakes. So then we shouldn't let them down, right? Do our best. We have to study Tao books often and read the sutras so that we can learn more. We should maintain pure and strong virtues. Holy Teacher says if we have strong virtues, that's the best way to get merits, and heaven will reward us with countless merits. And if we suffer hardships on earth and keep cultivating, heaven will give us a ticket straight back to heaven. Holy Teacher says if we do these things, we'll become a good leader naturally. and then people will naturally follow and respect us. He says, cultivating is both easy and difficult. It depends on ourselves, not heaven. And if we don't have enough good merits or good virtues, then evils and bad karmas may block us from cultivating. So we really have to do more because we don't know what's lurking behind us or waiting for us. So little disciple realizes his mistakes and how blind he's been, and he has nobody to blame but himself. He regrets not sweeping at temple because now his karma is for a beggar to dirty up his temple. He regrets not wiping temple's tables because now there's a dirty cowkeeper child who keeps putting his feet on his lotus platform in the temple. He regrets not following propriety because now beggar smokes up his temple. Because when he's cooking inside of a temple, it's not really following regulations either, right? He regrets not cleaning properly or burning incense at the temple because now nobody comes to burn incense for him. He regrets loving money so much and not donating the money that he made because now nobody comes to offer fruits to him. He regrets wearing dirty clothes to bow at temple because now his temple is so worn down and he has a leaky roof that gets him wet during hurricane season. He regrets not greeting and sending holy teacher off whenever he came to visit. So now he's alone and he has no visitors. And he also regrets not cleaning his hands when he comes into the temple. You know how we do the jingso, where we wipe our hands on the towel? Because now kids play with his statue with dirty hands and dirties up his temple even more. So little disciple realized that he spent so much time making money for his kids and not enough time and effort for temple. And when he died, he said he left empty-handed because he can't take anything with him. So he regrets liking earth so much and getting so attached to it that he never bothered to create karma with the other Buddhas. And he said he made countless amount of money, but now he suffers the result. And he made a lot of excuses saying like he was too tired after work to bother propagating or studying Tao. And he had so little merit that all he really earned was this tiny rundown temple. He regrets his arrogance, and he says he feels shame for thousands of years. So we shouldn't let this opportunity pass us by, he says. He says he was very good at planning how to make money, but he should have been spending his efforts planning how to make merits instead, because that would have helped him reduce his bad karma and gain him a higher position. He says he learns from his mistakes and regrets it. So he's telling us to learn from his regrets and mistakes. And he said, earn a lot of merits in exchange for a high position at our next point of our journey. He says it's very cheap to gain a high position, only one lifetime of cultivation, and we can enjoy it for thousands of years. So they said one lifetime of good merits, we could spend 10,800 years in heaven. And if we do the math, if one lifetime is about 100 years, that's 108 lifetimes that we can spend in heaven. So he says, learn from the Buddhas and follow them because they always move and touch heaven and earth, and they're always justified. If we can do that, then we earn a spot side by side with the Buddhas. So little disciple is still kneeling in front of holy teacher's lotus platform crying, but now he's crying because he realizes how blind he's been, and he's begging holy teacher for another chance to be reborn and try again. But holy teacher says he worries that little disciple will just forget again and make the same mistake. But little disciple promises that this time will be different. He'll make a big vow and fulfill it to surpass even Buddha's position. And he wishes to return to permanent heaven and never leave. And he wishes to follow holy teacher's footsteps in reunion forever with him. So, I mean, that's the end of the story. But I found it really interesting because, you know, we're all little disciples of holy teacher, right? And it was very relatable to me because, like, his mistakes easily could be mistakes that we make without realizing it. And it wasn't like one or two big mistakes that he made. It was like many little mistakes that accumulated over the time. And it's easy to make excuses, like Ty was saying in first class, but it's really important for us to push ourselves and get to the next level so that we can be side by side with the Buddhas. And we really have to remind ourselves that Earth is temporary and we shouldn't get too attached. We shouldn't like Earth so much, right? And it's more important and more valuable to be wealthy in merit money than it is to be wealthy in Earth money. Because when we pass away, can we take any of that stuff with us? He said he couldn't take his family, he couldn't take his money. So what was the point? All we can take with us is our merits, right? And he also said, remember to trust heaven to plan our paths. He says, remember the big picture. Don't be too short-sighted. Earth is just such a small duration of our lifetimes, or just our true natures in general, and our timelines. So we shouldn't be short-sighted. We always should remember the bigger picture, like Ty was saying. The way I see it, like everything we do on Earth is really in preparation for the next point of the journey where we have to take it alone. Okay? So we really have to help each other and help ourselves while we still can. We don't want to be like little disciple who threw away the opportunity and was demanding for a redo when we have this perfectly good opportunity in front of us now. Okay. So I was thinking that maybe we could discuss it a little and see what you guys think of the story, because I thought it was pretty interesting. So yeah.
A lot of do's and don'ts that we can use to gauge our own cultivation.
There's a book there, Leader Disciples. He's crying with tears. By accident, I bought this book when I was in trip 2 weeks ago. So I took from the bookstore, and she was preparing this class. So by accident.
So yeah, my mom kept saying that maybe the Buddhas knew that I was going to be talking about this topic and had my dad bring it back for me to look through and
in Chinese.
Yeah. So I had to sit down with my mother and have her translate word by word everything for me.
Yeah, in Chinese.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting. It's a really interesting story. Yeah.
We don't want to be like him. With the tears, you can see the tears there.
I think it's also really interesting that they use the title of Shao Tu, or little disciple, instead of using his actual name. So in a way, it's like Buddha's giving us a warning and telling us that we have to follow the same. This could easily happen to any of us, and we don't want that to happen. So.
Yeah, all these things arise from self-centeredness. Any little bit of selfishness, even just a little bit, causes some of these mistakes. So ultimately, so we talk about in the paramitas to let go of that self-ego. Right? That ego is really, it's the cause of all our problems. Okay, so being able to, if we can feel like others, if I'm helping others, I'm helping myself. That view that there is no separation, you and me, we're all one, we're all the same body, same essence, then that can overcome that. But we have to maybe constantly remind ourselves of that, because obviously the physical reality that we see, there is separation, there's difference, and all that. But ultimately, we have to look beyond that, look at the true reality, which is that our Buddha nature, we're all one, we're all the same. Okay, so that's the big picture. For us to succeed on that bodhisattva path is that's one of the ways that we have to have that type of mindset, to try to let go of that self. Everything is all about me, even in very little ways. But as long as that me is still there, we cannot gain true liberation, if you will, from this samsara, this big cycle of life and death. We're going to create karma, plant the seeds of karma with that me, that idea of that self. Okay, so we have to overcome that.
Yeah, I think that's the topic that Sister Feng and I talked about when we were on the way to the airport. It's really important to let go of the ego. Because if we still care too much about us, then we're going to have all different feelings. When people praise us, then we'll be, like in seventh heaven. But when somebody says something that's not harsh to our ear, they may be true, but we don't like it, then we might harbor some, bad feelings towards that person. And when we still have this duality and this, polarism, then we'll never attain perfect enlightenment. And I think the other thing that the story talks about is the law of causality. For everything we do, we say, we think that it's going to be a consequence. That's guaranteed. And I think if everybody realizes the causality, knowing that whatever they do is going to, give them some consequence, good or bad, then I think there are a lot of things that they would not do at all, knowing that we reap what we sow.
Yeah, so I mean, if we look at what Little Disciple did, like a lot of it, the things that he did, he didn't really think, wasn't having a second thought, let me on purpose not do these things and see what happens. It was like, very natural to him to make excuses and to just not donate his money and time for temple. And then now we get to like actually see what happens when we don't do these things. So it's really like a really good kind of a warning for us and a big picture for us to remember in the future. Because I know now, like, he said he didn't really clean temple very good. I know, like, at home sometimes I get a little lazy and I'll just do it really quick. But now I realize, like, I might be causing karma that in the future I'll regret. So, yeah.
In the beginning, we use the concept, causality, it's a true principle. In the beginning, we use it to help us to avoid creating, the consequences. Ultimately, Buddha goes beyond that, actually. There is no causality. It's beyond, basically anything that they do is basically, it's following, if it's truly following that true nature, that Buddha nature, there is no causality, essentially, at that level. But for us, we're not at that level, so we use this causality to help us to avoid, we know that, if we do certain things, it's going to have certain consequences. But that's still a duality. Okay? So the ultimate level, there is no duality. So, but, and we don't want to become too attached to that concept either, this duality, causality. Okay, so eventually, we let go of that too. But we let go of it by realizing the emptiness of everything. Okay? But we're not there yet. Okay, so we have to take it step by step. And any kind of tools that can help us to get to that level is fine. But just realize that we have to let go of these things along the way. Okay? You can't keep being attached to this concept, this idea. At the end, then we won't go beyond it. Okay, so it's any kind of dharma, any teaching is a tool. Once the tool has served its purpose, then you don't use that tool anymore. Right? You've gone beyond it. And maybe there's another tool, another dharma that you use. Okay? So again, these things ultimately, so that's actually one of the, the part of the patience, the forbearance that we talked about earlier, is patience with the Dharma. Ultimately, to realize that emptiness of all Dharmas, that's hard for us to comprehend right now. And that really requires a lot of patience. It's going to be many lifetimes, perhaps, to get to that level. Okay, so the patience that we need to have is transcendent patience, which is across many lifetimes. It's not just this lifetime. We can be patient in this lifetime, in dealing with simple things and people maybe, but then, to do this across many lifetimes, that's the true patience, right? So, but anyways, that's something, to ultimately, all attachments we have to let go. Initially, we use these dharmas to help us get there, though.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually, because, cultivating is like a step-by-step process. And then, like, the Little Disciple was saying how, you only ever said good words to me because sometimes, like, the Buddhas are kinder to us and don't want us to fall back from all the criticisms we might, actually need to move forward. So the longer that we've been in this temple and the more we go to Dharma classes, we notice that, like, sometimes their standards for us get higher and higher. So when we first start coming, they say, jayo, like, keep going, do more. But then as we get older, and we've been here longer, they get stricter on us. And we shouldn't take that negativity with, like, kind of take it with a grain of salt. You should appreciate that the Buddhas are trying to help us now. So whatever the Buddhas give us, a constructive criticism, we really have to listen to it and take it to heart so that we can better ourselves for the next step. That's, like, the goal that they're trying to get us to do.
Yeah, I mean, we have to progress. I mean, obviously, it's like you're going through each grade. I mean, when we're in kindergarten, there's not much expected of you, right? But then as you progress, learn more, there's more that's expected of you. So again, as we progress, it's really encouraging us, those whatever advice or guidance they give us is to encourage us to push our limits a little bit further, to progress, to move forward. We don't want to stay in the same level forever, because when we do that, then it's more likely that we're going to slip back. Okay, so it's always moving forward because time doesn't stop, and so we have to move forward with time, and that's the only way. And so yeah, you view it. We don't want to take it negatively. We view it positively as encouraging us to that they feel that we're ready to go to the next level. So that's why they, the Buddhas and all their infinite wisdom, of course, they can see that, they will always give us appropriate advice. Okay, that's what we need. All right, they're not going to tell you to do something that you can't do. If they think you can do it, they may tell you. Okay, so think of it as in a positive way that that's praise. They think that you're ready to go to the next level, right? So that's again part of our mindset, is to look at things that way.
Yeah, and just like Holy Teacher said earlier, he said, the Buddhas next to us are really worried for us that we might fall or fail or make the same mistakes over and over again. So, it's really up to us, even though we can't see them marking it down, it's up to us to remind ourselves when we self-reflect at night what we can do better tomorrow. So. But the other thing is, we don't know how many tomorrows there will be, so we really have to take this opportunity seriously now.
There's a couple of points here. Go ahead.
So, I want to share with you, everybody, because right now to the heaven, the permanent heaven, there's a gate called South Gate, right? In front of the South Gate. Southern Gate. Right? There's a lot of spirits there. And who are they? They are those people that received Tao, but they did not come to the temple, right? And they forgot about the 3 treasures. So they kneel down there and keep begging saints to let them enter to the heaven's gate, right? Because a lifetime, just like a little disciple, they do not cultivate down. They are so busy with the earth's affairs. So they forgot a lot of things, and especially treasures. So the moment when we pass away, we go there, they are going to give a testing, all right? So about 3 treasures, where do you receive Tao with your introducer, who was the transmitter, give you the Tao in which temple? So we all have to remember in the little part, and especially 3 treasures. If we can answer those things, the 4大金刚, how do you say that in English? 4
guardians of heaven. Oh, guardians of the gate.
Marshal, guardian marshal.
Yeah, they are going to block us to go there. So there's tons of people, so many there. They kneel down over there, and they follow some of them in so many years. Okay, and Saint is so kind. They are trying to help them to enter the southern gate to Li Tian, the permanent heaven. Some people, their kids, they cultivate very well. They might have the chance to get married and go inside heaven. A lot of people, they, kneel down there, just crying and crying for many years. And some of them are so angry, they pound the ground, say, I hate my introducer, I hate my guardian. How come they only try a couple of times, they never come back to me and ask me, how important this is. They regret so much. So they say that if they keep coming, I will go to temple, to learn more. They regret so much. So us, we bring people here, even they don't come, like a sense they never give up on us. Where they keep trying, even it's so hard. Sometimes they give us hard time. We can never give up. We still have to to try to help them. So we don't want this happen to us. We don't want this happen to anybody also. Even they hate us so much, we keep follow them. But it's really important. There's too many swords in front of the south gate. They regret forever. They cry day and night. They cannot enter to the permanent heaven. I read that, whoever can go to the heaven, they come back and pass us those messages. Thank you.
A couple notes here now. In a lifetime, a lot of people receive a Dharma. They even attend a Dharma class. The problem is, in the Dharma class, people make a vow. However, after Dharma class, they may not come back. So the percentage come back may not be high. But people in the Dharma class, and Buddha says, coming down, talk to us, we are so excited. We made the vow, right? But when we go back to society, to the family, to the job, we worry about job, we worry about family, we worry about money, financial side. And we forgot the big vow we make in the heaven. So the little disciple said, teacher asked him to cultivate. You know what he said? He said, my kids are too little. Give me a few more years. When my kids grow up, when I'm financial side is more stable, I will come back to the temple. So 2 weeks ago, I was in Taiwan. There's one person. She was 41 years old. Nothing happened to her. She was healthy. Nothing happened to her. She was a temple member. But suddenly, she just left. She passed away. 41 years old. So in our lifetime, who knows tomorrow? We know today, but we really don't. Nobody will know. When we walk on the street, we never know. So we need to cherish the moment and encourage people around us, all the people who has affinity with all of us, to cultivate now. Don't wait for tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. Second thing now, we talk about Dharma class. We are lucky we have a Dharma class. Saint Buddha, Qigong Buddha, sometimes talk to us face to face. We get wisdom words. The other members in the different temples, they told me that you guys are so lucky. The reason because when the Buddha taught us which area we need to improve, then we work on that one, we can cultivate, jump so fast, jump a few steps forward. But for them, because they have so many members there, they didn't have opportunity for Buddha to talk to them. So they never had this kind of opportunity. So sometimes they say, you guys are so lucky, you are not even aware of that. Because they never got an opportunity. They say, you guys can jump so fast. Because if Buddha give you wisdom words, you can learn from that wisdom words and you can cultivate quickly. So I think we are lucky enough, especially Dharma class is coming. Make sure we are here in the Dharma class. Make sure we bring all the people who has ability to attend Dharma class. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I just want to bring back.
Yeah, go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, Judy say, to a stage when you age, we might forget the three treasures.
Yes.
You see, when you reach that age, you might
Correct.
You couldn't forget it, and you couldn't remember the three dharma.
Correct.
How can you enter the gate of heaven if you forget?
A few different ways. A few different ways, maybe I can make up something. A few things. First one, we want to bring people who still alive, maybe even elderly, come back to the temple. Transmitter or lecturers or temple members will help him or her to review the three treasures. That's one thing they do. Okay. Which that's what we encourage people coming back. When we forgot, we have to come back to it. Second thing, unless their children cultivate very, very well, and a lot of merits might help them to push out, to pass through the gate of Southern Mountain Gate. Okay? Unless, like the Thais, the lecture Thais, and Thais, and the our transmitter Jin. See, they are cultivate so much in the temple, doing so many things. Their grandfather used to be the the person who is manager,
Gardener.
Caretaker.
okay, all day
Heaven.
他讨厌 okay. But last 2 years ago, when we brought his grandpa back, he becomes the 不管那些
Protector of the Dharma. Yeah. Protector of the Dharma.
saint. Already.
So it's a promotion.
Yeah, the children can push them up, become saint. Children push the grandpa up to the yeah. So the DC transmitter, they can push his father position up. So children can help us, but we don't guarantee our children going to cultivate. Anybody can guarantee our children going to cultivate? No. So we better depend on ourselves. That's how I see it. Okay. We wish children can help, but we have to depend on ourselves first. Right? So, but we need to come back to review free trade, please. That's because too many spirits crying. They are all there. They are near there, waiting for the Saint Buddha to help them. But at some moment, sometimes it's kind of too late. Like little disciple, too late.
Yeah, they also said if we cultivate so well, just like Ty was saying, if we don't have attachments to things and are able to let go of this world, then like sometimes the Buddhas will take us directly past all the gates and all the tests and stuff, so that we want to get to the level where we don't even need to take the test, right? So.
Yeah, I mean the three treasures. Yeah, at the basic level, it's knowledge. Okay, you say it's knowledge. It's treated as knowledge. Say, oh, you have to remember this, and it's true. The mantra. Okay, it's a mantra. You memorize that. Okay, but beyond that, the three treasures is something that you use every day. I don't mean just concentrate on that, but it's part of us. It's a part of us, and using right. I mean, it's our Buddha nature, our life, and our physical body. We have to use it to propagate the Tao, to practice to our virtues, things like that. So if we do that, if we can really cultivate ourselves, then yes, we, when we leave this world, when we go, it's automatic that we, especially like Christine said, we let go of all our attachments. Then it's automatic that we'll just go through. Okay. Then, because we're already beyond that level, you could say, okay, where at the basic level, yeah, people tested on their knowledge, okay, that's the very basic minimum level, okay, and so, but we want to, as cultivators, we need to go beyond the very basic level, because basic level, you have no real foundation, maybe we still have all these attachments, things like that, and, one day, because it's not, say, oh, you can go up there forever. It's not forever. Okay? Don't think that's forever. We have to come back. We have to come back in this world at one point in the future. And when we do that, if we don't have that foundation, it's like we're starting over, and we can easily make those same mistakes. And maybe if we come back at a time when there is no Tao being propagated, that's very tough. Okay, so how do we cultivate? We don't hear the Dharma, we don't hear about the Tao, then it's going to be very tough if we don't have that foundation. Right? So learning in this life, now we're very fortunate. We have temples, we have all this Dharma, the teachings left over these thousands of years to guide us. If we don't learn well, build up that foundation, through our virtues, our merits, then it's going to be very difficult in the next lifetime to to not deviate from that, to slip back and fall back into that cycle again. Okay, so we want to keep moving forward so that we keep building up this foundation, life by life, like each lifetime, that we have a stronger and stronger foundation, that we would not, quote unquote, lose our way in this world. Okay, so all the Buddhas. Yeah, they've been, incarnating many lifetimes, but they never lose their way because they have built up such great foundation of their virtue and merit. So that's what we want to get to that point where we don't get lost again. Okay.
Can I have something?
Well, that's really what the Bodhisattva's goal is. I mean, that's if we could reach that level, like a Bodhisattva, then you. Theoretically, well, you wouldn't be able to regress. I mean, it would be because you have such a solid foundation. Now, speaking about, it's difficult. It's not easy, and that's why it's difficult. But when we talk about eternity or forever, right? It's really very. It's not really. I mean, it is, yes, but it's not. We have to clarify. What I mean is that, yes, with the 3 treasures, we can return to absolute heaven. That is absolutely true. If you remember. And but even if let's say, let's look at a Buddha. Let's look at a Buddha. They have no attachments, right? That's by definition a Buddha. So you can say they have reached a state of true emptiness, right? 真空, right? True emptiness. Okay. So you can say that in the sense that you can say, yeah, they are transcended or beyond, you say, even the laws of causality, because because laws of causality is like, it's dialectical, right, or whatever. Okay, but so in a technical sense, yes, you can say that they can remain in heaven forever, for eternity. That's true. But because they have vows and whatnot, and their vows, they will incarnate. So when we talk about time, it's not necessarily our lifetime. Yeah, we look at 80, 100 years, and maybe even 1 generation, 2 generations, 3, whatever. Okay, but really, when we talk about Buddha coming back, I mean, yes, they do come back, many lifetimes within it. But really, when we talk about when we view the time scale, we should not say, oh, it's for we have the green period, the red period, the white period, right? We have those periods. Really, we should look at time as cycle, as a cycle, not linear, but as a cycle of what? Cycles of literally millions and billions of years. So that's what it is, okay? So every cycle, you can say within this cycle, I don't know the number of cycles, but it's a cycle. Yes, we can go back to heaven, right? For 10,800 years. That's the phase, or what do we call that? The phase, right? It'll be, I forgot what it is. Not Sen. Xu, I think Xu or whatever. But if ordinary human, if we're not Buddhas, ordinary human, we still have to come back after the cycle. You see what I'm trying to say? We must.
But one thing very important in the Buddha nature class, the one concept is very important. Whatever especially Buddha nature class is so important. Whatever we learn this lifetime, doesn't matter where we go, even we could come back next lifetime. Yeah, we still have that information with us. Still they have Buddha nature virtues with us. So that's why the teacher talked to the Chen Wenxu, the temple member. He said, those people who learn the Buddha nature class, so even they know next lifetime, if they didn't become Buddha this lifetime, they might have to come back next time. Yeah. They will remember what they have learned up to this lifetime. So that's very important. So especially Buddha nature class, we need to learn as much as we can. Second thing is I want to say that during the Dharma class, one Holy Qigong teacher said that a lot of people say, how come we don't put a news? Some people go to the different religions. And he asked teacher, this temple member asked teacher during the Dharma class, how come we don't put an ad on newspaper, ask people come to receive it out? So many people come. And teacher just walked a few times back and forth. Teacher, our Holy Qigong teacher said, last lifetime, previous lives, all of us could be in different religions. We are doing a good thing to help the living being. That's why this lifetime we are into the position to receive a Tao. So if we don't do that in previous lifetimes, we will not receive a Tao this lifetime. So that's because we did so many good things in previous lives. That's why the time is up for us to receive Tao. So it's not really we come to receive Tao by accident, because we have done so many things in previous lives already.
We have been cultivators for 3 lifetimes consecutively, without interruption.
To receive Tao.
3 lifetimes.
5 lifetimes before we can attend the Dharma class. 5 lifetimes at least. So there's one temple member, she received Tao, she has been cultivated 7 lifetimes before she received Tao in her life. This lifetime. 7 lifetimes for her. So everybody's this. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that our concept of heaven is not correct. Heaven, from the Buddhist point, it's a state of mind. A state of, you could say, state of meditation or dhyana, whatever you want to call it. It's a state of mind. So we say, oh, you know, you go to heaven and then Buddhas come back, leave heaven. No, they're always in heaven.
Yeah.
They're always in that state of mind, that equanimity, that whatever that state of mind is. And no matter where they are, they're in that state of mind. And you can say that they're always in heaven. Okay, so for us, you know, we can't stay there. We can't stay in that level all the time because we haven't developed, you know, our wisdom, our virtue high enough. So we have, you know, as a Buddha, they've reached that level, but we can only maybe do it for a short while. And so we have to work on that. So that's part of our wisdom, that concentration, that focus, that meditation. Okay, it's part of that.
Hey, just to touch upon what Transmitter Mark just said, you said we remember that. It's really we build up a foundation or we strengthen our wisdom. We enhance our wisdom using the Buddha Nature class. That's why. So people ask, well, how do I learn wisdom? People always ask, oh, I can't read it in any scripture. You follow the Buddha Nature class. That's how you can gain wisdom. It's not really gain. You already have it. It's just to bring it out. Yeah, you can say nurture, rediscover it, and bring it out. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. And then to be more technical, once you develop that good foundation, or increase, you say, in your wisdom, it really goes to your alaya consciousness. Alaya consciousness. And that's where it's stored, so that no matter how many incarnations in the future, it's still, your alaya consciousness will still maintain that wisdom. So that's how that's how it is. To be technical, you know, that's your alaya consciousness.
Okay, thank you.